Maybe you're like me and just ate a cookie made up of sugar molecules like glucose. Those glucose molecules will be used by my cells for energy, but first they need to get into my cells. All the cells in our body are surrounded by a structure known as the plasma membrane. The membrane acts as the selective barrier, letting only specific molecules into and out of the cell. How does the membrane keep some molecules out? Let's take a closer look at the structure of the plasma membrane. The membrane is made up of a molecule called a phospholipid that can interact with both fats and water. The phospholipids arrange themselves into two layers, with the hydrophobic tails facing each other. Think of the membrane like a sandwich, where the bread is the phospholipid heads that like to interact with water, and the filling of the sandwich is the hydrophobic tails. The hydrophobic core of the membrane repels polar molecules, but allows small nonpolar molecules across, like oxygen and steroid hormones. But what about our glucose molecule? It is polar and cannot simply diffuse across the membrane. Instead, it has to rely on another component of the membrane, transmembrane proteins. Transmembrane proteins span the entire membrane and act as transporters for polar molecules or channels for ions. In this way, cells can regulate what goes across the membrane by regulating the number of transporters in the membrane. If there is no glucose transporter, then glucose cannot go into the cell. It requires no energy to transport a molecule across the membrane from high concentration to low concentration, and this is known as passive transport. However, if a cell needs to really move a bunch of a molecule onto one side of the membrane, it will need to use energy to actively transport the molecule from low to high concentration. In fact, chances are that most of the energy I get from eating a cookie will be used by my cells for active transport. Wow!